It has been a little while since we have had an episode of the You, Me, and Jesus show. I think it's been a year and a half since the last episode came out on the podcast, but I'm not really sure when the last time we've done it on live stream. And so I'm so excited to be back. So we got excited to share all the things that's been happening in my life since doing You, Me, and Jesus. And so let's go ahead and get started. All right. So if you're here and you're joining with me live, hello. So glad that you're here. Just 1 second. This is my first time using StreamYard for this. And so I just want to make sure that I am streaming to the right places. I probably am not. This should be streaming to my You, Me, and Jesus Facebook page, but I know it's on my personal page. I need to make sure that I can get it to the You, Me, and Jesus page. So give me just a second. Okay, 1 second. Um, share. So it's not going to let me share to my. Oh, yes, it is. Share to a page. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're there. So if you're here and you're live with me, just say hi. And then I'm going to share this into our 30 Days of Miracles group because it's been a while since we've been in there as well. Just want to talk about all the things that Jesus is doing and has been doing, and then chat with you all as well. But I'm also recording on the podcast. So I just hit pause real quick, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit start again. All right. And if you're here with me live, just know that this is what it is. I forgot to clean off my camera. Just came home from church. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So, welcome back to another episode of the You, Me, and Jesus show. We are broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube, and I think Twitter right now. But we're also talking here on the podcast. And so I'm really excited to be here. And so this is our first time being back since January of 2021. And so it's been a minute. Hey, Sharina. And I just want to chat with you all. So, first of all, today's topic is when God invades your business. So, for the most part, that is what we're talking about. But let me give you guys a little update about my life. So, the last time we've had an episode of the show, it was January of 2021. At that time, we were still in the midst of like the craziness with COVID-19. I was living in Redding, California at the time and dealing with all different types of things that were happening in my life and in my business and my relationship with God, my relationship with the church, my relationship with the white church. That's a whole conversation, and we'll try to get into some of that. The white church meaning that predominantly white and a few black people being present. So there's a lot of things that have transpired since January of 2021. But in the midst of all that, I kept feeling this restlessness in my life and in my spirit. And I felt like it was time to move. And so eventually I was hearing God clearly. He told me to move to San Diego. So we moved to San Diego in May, and it'll be a year in 20 days that I've been here in San Diego. It's been incredible journey. But the reason why we stopped doing the podcast and the live show is because it just got hard. It really just got hard to do all of that in the midst of everything that was happening and me just trying to focus on mainly me. Because when you do a podcast, when you do a live show, you're focusing on serving the people. And I am someone that says that I will serve people from my overflow. Right. So we have a cup, have a saucer, and I will serve people from the saucer, everything that's in my cup that's running over. If I don't have anything for myself, then I'm not gonna go and give to everybody else. So that's kind of why I was like, all right, let's just pause this. I can focus on me, my relationship with Jesus, my life, and all that. And then we can pour from our overflow. And then I honestly just got tired. I was just tired because my business had so many ups and downs or whatever. But that's that. That's why we took so long to get back into the show. But that's not what today's show is about. Today's show is about when God invades your business. And I, as always, am honest, brutally honest sometimes, want to share with you my journey, my experience, with God. So the since the last time we've had this show, I was focusing on my brand design agency, which is called If You Brand It, where we focused on consulting and then brand design, including logos, websites, marketing materials, and things of that nature. And at the beginning of 2020, I heard God tell me, "Hey, you actually need to start using TikTok," which I thought was the craziest thing to hear God say, because nobody in my circle was talking about TikTok. No one really in my circle still talks about TikTok, but nobody at the time in my circle was talking about TikTok. I wasn't thinking about TikTok. I did not have an account on TikTok, but I'm someone who prays a lot, right? And I don't mean it like I'm holier than thou. I mean that I literally just Jesus, like when I went to divorce, Jesus became my best friend, right? Because there was nobody, there was no family, there was nobody. And so, because he became my best friend, I started talking to him about everything, including my business and marketing strategies. So, when I was praying, asking for strategies for my business because of COVID and all that, and he told me to get on TikTok, although I thought it was crazy, I said, well, what if I'm actually hearing right? And what if this is the thing that I should be doing that I don't know that I should be doing? And so I just got on. I got on TikTok. I was like, okay, we're just gonna figure this out. You know what I mean? Like we're just gonna obey God and that's it. That's what we're gonna do. And God completely invaded my business. I mean, he just completely invaded my business. And I want to share with you like what happened, not just the money that has happened and the followers and all that type of stuff, but I want to talk to you today about what happened and what was happening in that process with me, with God, and in my business. Okay. So when I heard God tell me to get onto TikTok, I it didn't make sense. I didn't really tell anybody. I mean, I had roommates at the time and I was like, I kind of mentioned it to them. And so me and one of the girls, Malkaya, we started creating TikToks, dancing and all that type of stuff. Um, but it wasn't really making a whole lot of sense to me as it pertains to my business. But I still obeyed him and got on TikTok. And when I was doing it, it was like, oh, this is fun. This is a way of escape because we're all afraid of dying because of COVID. This is my way of escape. And so I got on there and was just creating fun content, just having a good time creating content on the TikTok platform. And in the midst of that time, I had rented a house in Reading, and he asked me to invite students to come and live with me. They could pay rent to live there. So it was four girls that were living there with me. And when COVID happened, they stopped going to school out the house and they were now in the house. So what that meant was that I wasn't able to really focus in my business because they were always in the house. And so God asked me to get an office space. And I was like, I don't have office space money right now. Like I just don't have it. And he told me to go out and I said, "Okay, fine. I will do what you say." He asked me to make a list. He asked me to wake up in the morning and write out my whole life, right? In terms of what was I doing? What was I focusing on in my business, my personal life? He just told me to write out all the things that I was doing. And I did that. And then in the midst of doing that, he said, "Okay, now I want you to go and find an office." And I was just like, Jesus, I don't have office money. And he reminded me of this lady, Ava. If Ava is here, Ava, thank you so much. I will tag her here on Facebook. And he said, contact Ava. And I was like, okay. So I contacted Ava, and she had mentioned having office space and all this stuff. And she said, well, you can be in the space if you'll just pay for Wi-Fi. And I was like, Wi-Fi is $100. I can do $100, right? And so I ended up moving into the office. I had a back room, there was a kitchen and all these things or whatever. And it was literally right down the street from the house. And that was like such a God thing because I was like, I didn't have the money. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. And she willingly said yes to me being there and all offered me all I had to do was pay for Wi-Fi. So that allowed me to be able to, work and without people interrupting because they were home from school. And so I'm here in this office and I'm going there every single day now, getting dressed, all the things and going to this office. And we're dealing with COVID or coronavirus at the time, what we all knew it as. We were dealing with the death and murder of George Floyd. We had heard about Ahmaud Arbery. People started, rioting and protesting in the streets, and there's all those things that are happening while I'm in this office trying to figure out how in the world to use TikTok. And I remember being in there every single day, like, okay, I got to get some work done. I got to get some money in here. I got to make money in my business. But ooh, TikTok is a way of escape. And I'm like trying to figure out how to use these buttons on TikTok and all this stuff. And I just keep creating content. And one of the things that started to happen as I was creating content for TikTok is people started saying, "Oh my God, your joy is contagious. I love you." I mean, just this looking at me as me and not me as the consultant. And a part of me, honestly, started to come alive. Like I didn't know that a part of me was dead, but when I got on TikTok, it's like a part of me came back to life. Now, it took me a while to realize that, but I said, "Oh, I feel like a part of me died when I got divorced, because when two become one and they got to become two again, there's a whole situation that happens like death and ripping and all that stuff that happens when you go through a divorce." And I realized that, oh, there was a part of me that was dead. And so as I started creating content on TikTok, I got this joy just started to restore, this like happiness, this youthfulness, this thing just kind of started to restore that had been before I had met him or whatever. But then I started, getting frustrated, with the app. And I was just like, this is so frustrating. I don't know what's doing. I'm not making any money here. People are making fun of me. This doesn't work. I don't understand all the buttons and all that stuff. And I remember just, he didn't like swarm in or anything, but I remember just kind of sitting there going, but what if I just give this a little bit more time? What if I just keep creating a little content here and there? What if I just be consistent every single day and show up every single day? And that's what I started to do, right? I just kept creating content and I kept creating content and I kept creating content on TikTok. Well, I still wasn't making any money yet. But eventually the office that I was in needed to close because of coronavirus. And I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? And I'm on this call and some people are praying for me and they're just like, just go out and look for a place. God's going to show you what to do. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And so I'm driving home, right, which is literally right down the street from the office. And once I'm almost home, I see this commercial office building and there's a sign and the sign has been there since I've lived there. And I turn around, I call the number, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have an office space. I can meet you there today." And I said, "Okay, sure. Meet me in this space." The space is like it's so much bigger, right? And they told me how much it would cost to rent one of the rooms. And I was just like, trying to negotiate and all that. Like, Jesus, all I was paying for was Wi-Fi in the other place. This one is an actual space, Wi-Fi, water, electric, all that stuff. And he just told me, like, no, this is the place. You're going to build your business here. This is the place. And I said, okay. And now listen, I'm telling you all of what has been happening as God was invading my business. And so then I signed for the space and I said, well, I have a lot of stuff. Is it possible to sign for both of these spaces? Like there's like 4 rooms and I want to take 2 of them. Is it possible for me to sign for both of these spaces and I not pay for the second room for 90 days? And they said, sure, just pay an extra this amount and you can have it for 90 days. Cool. So I get into the space and a friend of mine comes to do some work for herself and she just starts hearing God from me and about my business, what's going to happen in that space. And when I get there and start working, he is like, well, you're actually going to occupy all of this space at some point in time. And I'm like, yeah, in your dreams. Yeah, whatever. But I just start working. I start creating TikToks. I start selling my products and services on TikTok and other social media platforms. And I'm slowly, getting a little bit of traction, like slowly getting a little bit of traction, but enough to pay for my regular bills, and then for the new office that I had just gotten. But then what happens is there was two other rooms that were connected. Someone comes in wanting to possibly rent that space. And I'm like, oh no, this is going to be bad because I can hear everything inside the other rooms, right? It's not like it's like I just can hear them. They can hear me and I can hear them. And I said, oh, this is going to be really bad. And they're touring the space, they're excited about it and all this stuff. And God kind of says to me, he says, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, what do you mean? He said, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, if that's their space, then what can I do? He said, well, I thought I told you this is your space. And I said, well, I don't really want to pray against them getting the space, like, I don't know. He said, what are you going to do? And so I said, okay, let me do what I know to do. Get up in here and pray and lay hands on everything, anointing oil, and declare this is your space. And this is kind of a normal thing for me in a sense. So I get the anointing oil and I put the like crosses on all the windows, all the doors, and I just started declaring that this is my space. But I also started declaring that the people that were looking for an office space, that they were going to find the absolute perfect space for them. I never said that they weren't going to get the space. I just said they're going to get the perfect space for them. And then he said, okay, now that you've done that, I want you to reach out to the owner and I want you to negotiate. I want you to tell her you'll take all 4 spaces for X amount of dollars. I said, okay. So I sent her a text message. I want all 4 spaces at this rate, and I can take it over on this month. And they said yes. So I went from 1 space to 2 spaces to 4 spaces, all in a matter of just a couple of months. Okay. And in the midst of all that, my influence starts to grow on the TikTok platform. And as I'm starting to create content on TikTok and posting some of it on Instagram and some of it on Facebook, I start to really get more traction in the business marketing community. That people really wanted more from me in general. And so I was watching God just kind of take me on this journey of being like, hey, I want you to first do this. Wake up in the morning and I want you to write out your life. Next, I want you to go out and do this. I want you to call this person. And I'm just like allowing him to just lead and guide me, even though it seemed kind of crazy. It made no sense. And financially, it really made no sense. But I just said, okay, let me just let him lead and guide me, because if I follow him, then I'm definitely going to be in the right spot. Even if I hear him wrong, he's gonna course correct me. Um he's gonna help me hear right, or just redirect. And fast forward, since all that has happened, our influence just kept growing on TikTok. And so we decided to just put down our consulting business, our branding consulting business. And now we just focus on teaching people how to use TikTok to market their consulting services and their courses. And I have watched, like, because that was the beginning of 2020. And I remember somebody coming to me in like February or March and said, hey, I have a word for you. Your business is getting ready to explode starting in July or June or July. And I was like, okay, I just took the word. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And that is when things started to shift. The business started to take off. We started getting more clients. We started getting more speaking opportunity. It just started to really, really take off. And then a year later, he said, okay, it's time to move. And now the business has exploded. And the beautiful thing is now I'm in an apartment, which is beautiful, beautiful complex. It's like a resort here. We've set up my second bedroom as an office, but I'm moving into a corporate office space on in June 1st, via the Holy Spirit again. And I'm literally just watching him just invade my business. Like I every day I'm just like, God, how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to hire this person? Do I let this person go? Is this the right price for our products? Should we offer this product now? Should I create this offer or whatever? And every single time where I have just been inviting God to like move in my life, move in my business, I'm watching this manifestation of supernatural wisdom. You know what I mean? Like there is no way that I could have known what TikTok was going to do for my business. There's no way, because I wasn't on TikTok. I wasn't thinking about TikTok, and none of my friends were talking about TikTok. Nobody was talking about TikTok. But because I said yes to Jesus long ago, and I said yes, he could talk to me and direct me and all that, when he told me what to do and I did it, he knew exactly what it was going to do. He knew how it was going to, like, change my life, how it was going to change my business, like today. But okay. So back when he told me to get on TikTok, I had, what did I have? It was me in the company. That was it. It was just me. And I had a contractor in India when they would do logos and web design, and that's it, right? But then after I said yes to God and TikTok and I yes to the office, I got approved as a third year mentor for Bethel School Supernatural Ministry. And then Naomi came and she became a graphic designer, but also one of my mentees. Then we hired, no, then we brought them a bunch of interns for a summer, like all over the country, a bunch of interns. They were amazing. And then we brought in Jordan, okay, for TikTok. Now that I'm here in San Diego, there is, let me just tell y'all, this is what God has done, right? So I'm just going to try to count them off. There is me, there's Naomi, there's Adora, Jamil, there's Rita, there's Anamika, there's Emily, there's Neha, there is, okay, Erica, Arian, am I missing anybody? So there's 10 people now that are part of, Zanine, 11 people that are now a part of our team in a matter of 2.5 years, right? From that moment that he said, get up, write out your life, and go find an office space, to today, we're right around 2.5 years, or 2 years, let's just say 2 years, 2.5 years since that. And because God was able to come into my business, God was able to tell me what to do, and I was willing to do what he has asked me to do. So when I thought about talking to you guys today, I thought about, like, what do I feel like they need to hear? And what everybody really needs to hear is obey God. Like, invite him into your business. A lot of times people just pray, but then are really asking Holy Spirit for strategies for their business, like literal strategies for their business. Like, sometimes I'm like getting dressed in the morning and I can start hearing a song. I can see a skit and I'm like, what is it? I'm like, oh, God has given me an idea for a TikTok video. And then I'll just, like, shout out, hey Siri, sorry. I said it. So I'll just shout it out from the shower and I'll have her write it into a note. So that way, when it's time for me to actually get to work, now I've got this crazy idea for a video. And I'm just constantly just saying, like, well, what else do you want me to do? Like, how do you want me to sell our products? Like, should we focus on ads or should we focus on email? Like, we have a course that opens up this month of May. And I'm like, okay, Jesus, what should the price be? What day should we launch it? Should we charge for our challenge or not? What should we offer them? Just all these things. Because I'm like, I'm smart. Yeah, I'm smart. But I'm like, but why not invite the creator of the universe into the whole equation? Because what if he has an idea that I don't have? Like, I remember someone was telling me to spend X amount of dollars. No, somebody was telling me to charge X amount of dollars for my course. It was like, it was really low because they said it was, it needs to be lower. And God was just like, no, you need to charge this amount of money for this course. And they kept challenging me on it. And I said, God, what is happening? He goes, you need to obey me because I'm the one that's going to make it happen and not them. And so I went back to them and said, hey, listen, I need you to stop challenging me. I got to do what God says. No matter how much money we make, I have to be obedient to God. And we made way more money than I thought, you know? And so even now, when people are like, "Hey, you actually should do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that." If I'm hearing the opposite from God, I'll say, "Well, hey, listen, I respect you, I honor you and your opinion and your wisdom, but just for this instance, I'm gonna need to do this because I feel like God is telling me to do this." And I don't really concern myself with what are they thinking or how do they feel about me choosing God's wisdom over their wisdom. You know what I mean? Now, sometimes their wisdom they connect, but the times when they don't, I don't follow them. I follow God, right? And so I really just wanted to come in with this first re-episode of You, Me, and Jesus, and to talk about God invading your business because this is really what's happening in my life right now. I'm literally just watching my whole life shift. My whole business has shifted because I keep asking him, what do I do here? And what do I do there? And what do I do here? And what do I do there? I'm just all this. I mean, you wouldn't believe the conversations that we have, but we talk about everything. Even today, I said, God, when do you want me to do this? He said, May 1st. I said, okay, is this a weekly show? No, it's bi-weekly. Okay. What do you want me to talk about today when I invade your business? And I said, okay. And so God, now I'm asking, I'm like, who should I interview? And how should it be? What should the time be every time? It's 2 o'clock too early? Should it be late? You know, because I'm like, I mean, why not? Like people pay consultants a lot of money to give them wisdom, which I do too, but I also, no matter what, go to the creator of the universe who knows more than everybody, no matter how much you pay them, and get wisdom. Okay. So I just want to share that with you all today on this episode of You, Me, and Jesus. And that is it for this week. Okay. All right. So that's the end of the podcast. But if you are here live with me on video, I want to do some Q&A in case you guys have questions. Because on the podcast, it's a little awkward if they are like literally like listening and like, what, I can't interact because I'm not on live with her. So if you're here with me and you've got questions, I want you to just let me know what your questions are. Okay. I just got an email from Google. You're live. So cool. Okay. Any questions, you guys? I would love to know. It's just not showing me. Okay. God is the ultimate business coach. That is right. That is right. He is the ultimate business coach. He is the one that has really he's just taught me so much. Like I'm telling you, like I tell people all the time, people think that I'm just like so brilliant or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I think I'm smart, right? But he literally tells me stuff and I just be like, what? Like 2 years ago, like think about this 2.5 years ago when nobody was talking about TikTok, he told me to get on TikTok. I'm like, and people thought I was crazy. And I was like, I thought I was crazy, but I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do what he told me to do anyway because I'm gonna obey him and not what everybody else is thinking. And I am so glad that I did. I mean, we're talking about $500,000 later. $500,000 later, all because TikTok. And things are not slowing down. I mean, I had to devote, like, we hired a bunch of people, we're training them, and I had to devote yesterday, my whole Saturday, to get my personal work done because I'm so busy during the week with the other stuff. And so I was like, okay. And yesterday, I'm just watching like all this stuff that I'm doing, and I'm just like, there's no way I can know some of this stuff like without him. So just so thankful. Let's see. Question from Christy. Where does the boldness come from? Good question. So, Christy, I can't say that I've always been this bold with God. Right now, I've always had a bold personality in general. That's just the personality that I was given. And so I definitely just do things, say things, yada, yada, yada. But to be bold and do what God is telling me to do, that has come with intimacy, right? That has come with me trying things. For example, I used to have a hair show, which is called Return of the Curls, where we help African American women take care of their curly hair, and I would have the trade show and bring people in and all this stuff, right? And my first time doing this trade show, I wasn't sure what I could accomplish, right? It was my first time. I had never done it, had zero experience, with that type of level, but I had faith. And so I am somebody who tithes. And back then I would have an envelope and I would write my what I was believing God for on my tithe envelope. And the envelope was full of stuff. I mean, it would be the back would be full. I would write inside the envelope, I write on the flap, and I would just write what I believe in God for. I started with a little bit and then I watched stuff manifest. And so I kept writing things and I kept writing things and I kept watching things manifest. And so I just started doing that on my tithe envelope, which makes me go, okay, I need to keep doing that. And when I watched God do all this stuff, it just made me want to tell more people. It made me want to just not keep it all to myself. And so I started telling people this stuff that I was doing and what God was doing. And eventually he told me to get on stage at my conference and tell people what God was doing. And so I was talking about it on social media and then I would talk about it at my events, and then over time, it just made me get more bold and more bold and more bold to do more of what he was asking me to do, inviting me to do. And so to do something like TikTok required a lot of boldness, a lot of courage in the midst of everything that was going on. Like I remember at the height of the George Floyd thing, and I was so afraid and dealing with all these emotions like every other person in the world, especially African Americans. And I just remember one morning, God was just like, you need to focus. And I was just like, what do you mean? Do you not see what's going on? Do you not hear what's going on? Do you not see that the white church, quote unquote, is acting like this isn't happening, is acting like just saying the words BLM is a sin? Like everybody doesn't have the same agenda as the BLM organization. Some of us are just saying we matter. And I'm having this wrestle with God at like 5 in the morning. And he is like, listen, what is happening. And I am not okay with it. But are you currently in danger? I said, what do you mean? He said, are you currently in danger? No, sir. Is anybody doing something to you right now? No, sir. What have I asked you to do? You asked me to build my business and focus on TikTok. And he said, I need you to focus on that. And I'm like, God, but can I really be posted on social media about all that while all that's going on? And he said, yes, you can. He said, because you need to focus. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, I'm trying to do something with you. I'm trying to explode your business. I need you to focus. And I remember sitting there like feeling terrible. I can't keep talking about this online when all this is going on with George Floyd and people and da da da. And I'm like, but I cannot disobey God because, no matter what I feel, you know. And so I chose him. I said, okay, I'm gonna go full fledged and I'm gonna just get all the other stuff off my social media so I can focus on what he's asking me to focus on. And I did exactly what he said, and boom, we exploded. Doesn't mean he doesn't care, doesn't mean I don't care, but I had to be obedient. And so my boldness comes from continuously obeying hearing God right, and watching him bless my obedience. Does that answer your question, Christy? Michelle said, I've been hearing God from God, but not understanding what to do or telling him to wait for this or that. Thanks. I needed to hear this. Oh, you're so welcome, Michelle. And it takes practice to hear God. It takes practice to know that you heard God right. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I heard God once. I hear him right all the time. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. When I am asking God something and I'm super emotional about it, I will go, okay, wait. Like, wait. Like, for example, if I meet a guy and he's amazing, right? And I'm like, ooh, and I ask God, oh God, should I go on a date with him? Oh God, is this my future mate? Because listen, I talk to God about everything, everything. And so when I meet a man, right? Listen, if I feel any kind of way towards him, I'm like, oh, he is hot, whatever. I immediately invite God into that, right? Because I'm like, I don't want to develop feelings. I want to do all this stuff. If God is already like, nope, friend zone, right? Because I'm like, if he knows, then I can keep myself from getting hurt or whatever, or just have friend zone. And so there's been many a times when I've met a man and I'm like, "Ooh, God, da da da." And he's like, "Yeah, that's the one." I'm like, "Oh, that's him." Yes, right. I had plenty of times when that has happened, and I have learned to go, "Okay, wait. I'm excited about this. I want this. I want to see where this can go with this guy. Let me not believe that yet because this could be my emotions because you can hear from yourself, God, and the devil, right? And so I have just learned to go, okay, with anything that gets me really, 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 really excited, I go, okay, I'm gonna ask for more confirmations and not get all bent up out of shape about it because it's emotional. When is about a relationship? If I keep feeling like I keep hearing a yes, then I will tell a friend, right? And I'll go, okay, I need you to start praying because this is what I'm feeling and hearing. I'm pretty sure I'm hearing wrong, but I'm just gonna invite you into it. If it keeps getting to that place, then I will call my spiritual mentor and I'll say, okay, here's the situation. I met this guy, yada yada yada. Can you just pray? I don't need any wisdom, just pray, right? And oftentimes, at some point in time, God will clear the air and say, no, he's just your friend. And I'm like, okay, cool, right? Especially when it's something that's really emotional. Jennifer, you just confirmed for me a decision I made yesterday. I literally had thought, what if I relied on God as my biz coach and applied what I learned for the past year? That's amazing, Jennifer. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Christy, thank you so much. You just confirmed what he said to me. Yes. Nicole, I really needed this. I do a lot of stuff people don't agree with, but I know it's God. Yeah. And a lot of people people mean well sometimes, and just sometimes they don't understand. Like everybody, listen, everybody that I was talking to, everybody, when I said TikTok was like, no. They were laughing at me, all the things. There was no one in my life that was like, yes to TikTok. No one. Everybody loves me, but nobody was championing my hearing God about TikTok. Nobody. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just meant that they didn't hear what I heard. Right. When I told people I was moving to California, I got a lot of resistance. But I was like, you ain't hear what I heard. So I can't bank on you. When I heard go to San Diego, you know what I mean? And so it's like I go and get wisdom. I get lots and lots and lots of confirmation, but just sometimes people just don't know. But sometimes we're hearing wrong. So that's why it's so important to have a multitude of counsel and then get lots of confirmations from God. All right. Any other questions? Christy said, facts. I'm sure that's about the emotional thing about the man. Yeah, it's like I mean, I have to do a lot of stuff. We all do. And I'm always just like, God, tell me about this and tell me about that and tell me about this and tell me about that. Um because I mean, feelings are feelings. We feel what we feel and you feel like something is real and all this stuff and yeah, it is what it is. Any other questions, you guys? Uh, it's so weird. I miss I'm looking on Facebook Live and I can't see any of this stuff. But when I look on StreamYard, I can see everything. So I need to stay right here on StreamYard. Okay. Okay. Well, there's no more questions. Then, guys, we're going to be here every other Sunday. Okay. Every other Sunday. Right now, we're here. I came on at 2. I think I may actually move it to 4. That way, it's like 7 o'clock Eastern time. And it gives me more time to get back from church and the grocery store because I always get groceries on Sundays. It gives me time to do all that type of stuff or whatever. So I think I'm gonna do 4 Pacific time, 7 Eastern. And then I need you guys to know that I'm moving into my office space, like a literal office space, June 1st. And so my intention, this is my plan. My plan is to have 2 different walls. One wall is my main wall where I do my business stuff, and then there's another wall in the office that I'm in, and that's going to be dedicated to like you, me, and Jesus. So I've got to figure out how to color coordinate that. I probably should bring in a specialist because like this and the you, me, and Jesus colors don't quite mix, but we're gonna figure that out. Last question. Let's see. Are you totally against Facebook for growing a business? No way, Christy. No way. I have built my business on Facebook and Instagram. I am pro TikTok, but I'm still pro everything else. Right. So just today, we market my business on Facebook, Instagram, podcast, YouTube, Twitter. Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn, my blog. We market everywhere, right? Just today, I got a message from Pinterest that said, "Hey, you can now monetize your content." I'm like, I want to make money from everybody. If you want to pay me, I want to get paid. Right now, this is business wise. I'm not money hungry, but this is business wise. So I'm getting money through Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels. I'm waiting to be officially approved by YouTube Creator Fund, the Pinterest Creator Fund. TikTok's Creator Fund is lame, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. Theirs has been out for a while and it's really lame. But I think in order to compete against everybody else, it's gotta up that. So I am not against it. Let me tell you guys where I am right now with Facebook payments. So I got a message and was like, "Oh, you're getting ready to get paid for something." Let me see. Facebook bonuses. So right now I am set to get paid $100 from Instagram Reels. Hello, somebody. I have a bunch of student loans. And right now TikTok is paying them off. But I'm like, if everybody else gonna give me money, I'm gonna put that towards all my student loans. You know what I mean? I have that for Facebook page. I don't know about Reels. I will be following you more. Oh, thanks, Christy. Yeah. So yeah, Facebook, they did it. I don't know which page is getting paid, whether it's my personal page, my business page. I really don't know. But I just said yes to it when it applied. And I post my content everywhere. I'm like, I don't know what is going on with the Facebook Reels. But I post the content. Okay. All right. Okay. So I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to You, Me, and Jesus. If you guys wouldn't mind liking the Facebook page, we are waiting for the approval to stream on YouTube. Right now, we're streaming on my business YouTube account. But once we get approval, we'll stream each week on the You, Me, and Jesus YouTube channel. And we'll be streaming on the Facebook page, the podcast, and then on YouTube. So the podcast, of course, is called You, Me, and Jesus. It's on iTunes and Stitcher if you guys want to follow that. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for coming in for this inaugural episode. It's been a while since we've been here, but I'm being back obedient. We're getting back onto the show. Okay, so I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.